pen tool is definitely one of the most difficult tools to use in Adobe Illustrator, right? We all know that. It's a challenge. Hang on, check this out. Click this button here. Lights. Pretty cool, right? A couple other lights need to go on still. Anyway, so I put out this pen tool class and it was awesome. It was on Skillshare.com. It did really well, but it was 10 years ago. So obviously the audio and the video weren't as good as I could make them now. I didn't have quite as much equipment and lights. And so it was time to redo the class and make it nice and fresh and new. And not only that, but lights. But the pen tool class now also has the curvature tool and the quick pen tool, which is in beta right now, but it's pretty intense. It's really good. It's not going to replace the pen tool, but it's going to work really well in tandem with the pen tool. Anyway, so I just finished the class. It's out. It's awesome. I think you should check it out. But I decided to promote it. I would make some YouTube videos and reels and all that kind of stuff. So I decided to head over to YouTube and check out what other people were doing. So anyway, when I went on YouTube, I found this creator who I've seen before in Dansky. I used to think it was Dansky instead, like kind of a play on Banksy, but I think it's actually Dansky, or it's just Dansky. Anyway, whatever. Great creator. He's got almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is insane. Anyway, he's killing it. But he did a video on YouTube that was mastering the pen tool or pen tool mastery or something like that. And he struggled.
Because there's a lot of things that will trip you up with this tool. Oh, you go, oh, hang on. Oh, that's not too bad. That's not, oh dear, okay. That's not what I want. So what I'm gonna do is click and it will cut that point, and then I can follow this up with my own path. And you can see I've got a wonky curve there already. It's not a great start, really, Dan. It's not great, but it can only get better from here. So there we go, we have our first line. It's pretty terrible actually. So let's grab the smooth tool and we'll just click and drag. We don't need to be too precise with this, just keep going over and over. In fact, we could just go over the entire thing because it's not really great, is it?
I think he's great at software. I think he knows what he's doing. And to his credit, he put it all in for make it all laugh. It's very funny. Funnier video than this, better editing, better audio. And he's British, so he sounds cooler. Anyways, I'm gonna do exactly what he did. I'm gonna do the same exact banana shape that he did in his video that he struggled with, and I'm gonna show you how I would do it. It doesn't mean it's the perfect way, but I think it'll be a little cleaner and you won't need to use the smooth tool like he shows a lot in his class. So I'm gonna go over how I would make my anchor points, how I put my handles, whether it's 90 degrees, 0, 45, whatever. Let's get in the computer, I'll show you. Okay, so I've got the exact same banana shape that Dan used in his video, which is a complicated shape. It's not an easy shape, but that's why it's a good one to work with. So we're gonna see if we can clean it up and make it a little easier for everybody. And one of the key things to doing that is to making sure you put your anchor points where you need to and your handles where you need to. Now, everybody does it a little bit differently, but I'm gonna show you how I would go about making this thing. So the first thing I wanna do is I'm gonna make my artboard the same size as this. I'm not gonna spend too much time going over every little detail of how I use it. I do that in the pen tool class. But I will make this a template layer. So I'm gonna double click on it. I'm gonna click template, and 50% is probably pretty good. This will allow me with a new layer above it. It will allow me to, at any point, go and turn this in a wireframe mode, but still see my reference image. Okay, so of course we need the pen tool. That is P on your keyboard. And then we're gonna pick a spot to start drawing this banana. So there's lots of different places that you can start at. I tend to like to start at an apex of a curve, kind of the furthest point on a curve. So I'm gonna visualize that roughly the furthest point is right about here. I'm gonna drag this out, and if I miss my point a little bit, I can hold it, let go of shift, and I can hold space and move that around. I do like to hold shift to make sure that this is exactly 0 degrees, depending on how you're looking at it. That generally, if you can keep your handlebars at 0 or 45 or 90, especially 90 and 0 or 180, depends how you look at it. Anyway, if you can keep your handlebars like that, it will produce cleaner art more times than not. The other thing you want to do to make sure that your art is clean as possible is try and use as few lines as possible. So sometimes that means you'll go back and clean something up. Let's make this like a bright pink. I'm gonna go Shift X to swap it. And let's thicken up the stroke about similar to what they have. Using my direct selection tool, we could do the pen as well. I'm just gonna pull this handle out now. See, that looks pretty close. Okay, coming back here, I'm gonna click on this anchor point and I'm gonna hold shift and drag that handle back out. And then I'm gonna guess that my next one is gonna be about here. I've got smart guides on. It's Command U or Control U on a PC, so it lines up exactly with that one. That's not very important, but it is probably about where I want to be. And holding shift, I'm clicking and dragging out until that line looks about right. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to about the furthest point of this curve over here. And I'm gonna click, I'm only gonna drag a little bit because I want that handlebar on that side to be pretty small because we got this huge handlebar here. You can always tweak it using our direct selection tool, try and make it a little smoother. I'm gonna try and stick to the reference as close as we can, even if it's sort of flawed. Dragging this handle out pretty far here. Maybe something like this. And then I think we can get all the way down to this point. Again, kind of the apex, and drag right there. And this will take a little bit of finessing. Using my pen tool, I'm gonna go over here, hold down Option and Shift, and that's how I can pull that point down, that handlebar. And pull this one up a little. And then clicking back on anchor, holding shift to drag down that handle, we can pick that back up where we were. And again, you could probably make a point maybe around here. Let's bring this guy back a little bit. Pick up this point. And I think we can finish it over here. What I want to do here is select this, go to stroke. And I want to make my cap and corners round. That looks okay. Sometimes you get a funny little thing here and then you kind of need to break it and go on a 45. Let's try bringing in these handlebars all the way, and we drag this guy out. There you go. That's a really clean line. So far we're only using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points to do that whole shape so far. That's pretty good. This point looks like it could use a little bit of work. Anyway, can't spend too long trying to perfect every little thing, or we'll be here all day. This is something I definitely would do if I was making a logo from scratch. You want to spend all day making sure that those lines are as crisp and perfect as you can. But for YouTube, we go fast. So I'm picking back up here. For this point, I think I'm going to just make a straight hard point right there, and then come over here and just click again to make a pretty hard point. So then I'm going to grab this point, I'm going to bring it over a little bit. I want this to look a little smoother, a little more uniform. And then with that little circle button there, let's surround our corners. I'm going to click and drag. Just round that a little bit. That makes that pretty light work for us. Okay, so this is going to be a tricky point. We got this big curve, and then we got this really tight corner and another big curve. I'm going to start here. I'm going to drag out a big line. And I think we're going to have to break our 45-degree angle, but we're just going to guess that it needs to be pretty big like this. And then up here, we're going to click. We're going to probably have to break the 45. And then down here, we can get back to our nice 90 degrees. That's pretty good. Come in here and just tighten that up a bit. I just want that to be smooth, even if it's smoother than what they had. There we go. All right, so click and drag this down. That one can go to a nice 45 degree. I'm holding shift, which keeps me at 45. I think we can go all the way up to this point and click and drag. And now sometimes the bottom handle and the top handle, you want different lengths while you're drawing. So what I'm gonna do is if I hold Option right now, I can pull down this top handlebar, but leave the bottom handlebar where it was. I'm gonna guess it's around here. And now this point's pretty tricky. Dan actually created his to go around here. I looked a little closer. I think this thing curves around here. And I'll find a reference image. I'm pretty sure it's curving here and then finishes up there. Aha! I was right. The banana here doesn't connect here and end here. It actually goes around there and ends there. That one curve got away from me too. And this area is looking a little tight. Smooth this guy out with our pen tool, and I'm holding shift here. All right, that's looking pretty clean now. Again, I don't know if it's flawless. It's pretty good though. All right, again, I'm picking the apex of that curve. This just seems to be a good starting point to me. Come down here, you go a little higher than what they had it, because again, I don't want these lines that tight. That looks good to me. Come back up here. I want these aligned. There was a point or two where I've seen other people where they hold Option and they're breaking that, or they even click here to sort of start new, and now you're gonna have a really kind of funny point there. But I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that these lines are working together. So it's not behaving, it's kind of working as its own point. I'm going to go in and I'll fix that up in just a second. Click around here, drag this up. Then I'm gonna hit escape. That's gonna end that point over here. And then I'm holding option to tidy this back up again. Pull this down. Kind of looks like that part of the banana is a little thicker. Anyway, I would say that that's pretty good. I don't know how long this took, maybe 10 minutes. We got it really clean, very few points. I think it's pretty tidy. I don't know if it's perfect, but it's pretty darn good. This gives you an overview. If you use your direct selection tool, you can see all your handles. If you don't see them, go to Illustrator, Settings, Selection and Anchor Display, and then Show Handles when multiple anchors are selected should be checked on. And then that way you can kind of look at everything and decide if there's somewhere that you could clean up those handles. I think that looks pretty good. Let's finish it off by giving it a dark gray kind of background. Shift X to flip it. I'm going to change this color, of course, to a nice, orangey yellow. Give it a bit more. And this guy can get into that beigey yellow. And I think that's a pretty good banana. All right, so let me put this back on my tripod. So there you go. That is how, not good enough, right? That is how I would tackle drawing a pretty tricky little shape. If you thought that was cool, please do check out my pen tool class. It's on skillshare.com/r/Crusoe Design Co. I'll definitely link it in the description. Do follow me on Instagram and all the things. I'll try and make more reels, and I'm not really the influency type, but once in a while I like doing tutorials. I think it's fun. Anyway, thanks so much. Again, no hate to Dansky. I know that, the pen tool is tricky, and he's a great teacher, and he's got all kinds of amazing tutorials. Do go follow him. But I think I might have got this one on him. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Bye-bye.